Um, is the is the call of God ever late? That's a very key question. There are people that get into ministry very young. There are others that get into ministry much later in their lives when they are mature in age. And I would say it's because of a myriad of reasons. Some of them is either number one, they resisted the call from the word go. And I've interacted with some of the older ministers that got into ministry when they were mature, and they told me, I knew that the call of God was in me, but I had to do other things before I now get into what we call full-time ministry. And then there are others that just got into what you would call full-time ministry straight from school into ministry, and they later went for seminary training, and God has used both. So there is no prescribed way of saying that I am either early or late. Again, the key thing that we need to ask ourselves is, am I in the purpose that God created me for? Am I in the perfect will of God? And am I in the timing of God? Because God works with seasons and times. So if I am in the timing of God, then I will I will be fruitful in a very big way. Let me give you an illustration from the Bible. The servant of God, King David, is anointed at the age of 17, but it takes about 13 years for him to ascend into the position of being a king. And even at that point, he does not ascend into the leadership of the entire nation. He ascends and becomes a leader of only two tribes, and is based in Judah. Then it is later, about 6.5 or 7 years later, is when now he's ruler over the entire nation. And I want to believe that God was taking him through a particular process, so that when he arrives and he gets to that position, he is aware of what God requires of him. He did not get into that position immediately. No, it took time. When you look at somebody like Moses, it took time. So that's why I'm saying, I'm just picking those two as an example. Then if you pick on the flip side, somebody like Paul, it did not take time. He started off, he zoomed into ministry, if you were to use those terms. He got in, and probably what we would call his preparation period was about 3 years only. And then he got into ministry. He was all over the place. Somebody like John the Baptist, it did not take time. From the time he got an understanding of his purpose, the guy was all over the place. And you can see that he died young. He died young. That connects very well to the question that you were answering earlier. He had already served his primary purpose, and he died pretty young, the same age that Jesus died. They had a difference of only 6 months, John the Baptist and Jesus. So John the Baptist got to that age, the same age as Jesus, and it is at that point that he was beheaded, but he had already served his purpose. So does he have a plan that you need to get into ministry earlier or later? The scripture seems to show both. So there is no early or late. Both of them work well, and they achieve the will of God and the purpose of God.